Hey, what's up guys, MKBHD here, and welcome to iPhone 10 launch weekend. I'm sure your subscription box is doing just fine. So I've been using iPhone 10 for about a week now and getting close to putting together my full comprehensive video review. But in the meantime, at this point, iPhone 8 and iPhone 10 are on sale next to each other in stores starting right now. So I figure it makes sense to make a quick video highlighting the differences between these two. What makes iPhone 10 and what makes iPhone 8 iPhone 8. Of course, there are plenty of other unique phones out there, especially this year. It's been, I think, a really great year for phones. But let's face it, there's still a lot of people who are just picking between these two, iPhone 8 or 10. So if you're one of those people, then this video is for you. So first of all, the most obvious difference is the design. And I'm pretty pumped to finally have a different looking design for this iPhone 10. And even if most of the rest of the phones are nearly identical, I think having a new design is what really makes people feel like they have a new iPhone this year. The bigger screen and a smaller footprint, finally it feels very 2017. But we all know Apple also likes to do like a little something every year just so you can look at your phone and know, like, yeah, this is the newest iPhone. So this year, obviously, the camera module tilted 90 degrees. You can tell from pretty far away that that's the new iPhone. And then, of course, the nearly unmistakable top-notch display. Get it? Top-notch. It's okay. But it's true. That's the characteristics that make it seem really new. iPhone 8, on the other hand, is familiar. Nearly the exact same design as last year and the year before and before that, with the bigger bezels, the fingerprint sensor, and the home button on the front. Some people will like that and gravitate towards that because they're used to it. But yeah, like I said, a lot of people have been waiting for something new, and that's what iPhone 10 is. True story, as I was shooting some of this, I was outside, and I guess someone was kind of stuck in traffic in their Uber, and they were like half a block away and yelled from the backseat of their car, "Hey, is that the iPhone 10? And I was like, yeah, I was impressed with it, and they said 10, not X. But they could tell from their car way over there that it was a 10. Take it for what it's worth. But yeah, there's also some new colors. So iPhone 8 comes in silver, which we're pretty used to, space gray, the darker one, and the Band-Aid gold. And iPhone 10 comes in this silver, which is a different type of silver. It's really more of a white or a pearl type of color with the very shiny aluminum bands all the way around. Just an all-around very reflective phone. And the space gray iPhone 10, which is definitely a more subdued version. It's darker, and the metal band around the sides isn't quite as bright. It does at least match the space gray of the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, so it's the same color. But there's no getting around it. These are both super reflective phones. Overall, the iPhone 10 design feels and looks more modern, I would say, while the iPhone 8, especially when you look at other phones that have come out in this past year or two, looks kind of more stuck in the past. But the specs of the two iPhones are nearly exactly the same, not stuck in the past at all, so no need to worry about missing out on anything in the speed or power department. But something that is different about the hardware is the cameras. The iPhone 8 has a single camera, like we talked about in the review, and the 8 Plus has the dual cameras, adding a telephoto lens for portrait mode and 2x zoom. iPhone 10 has actually exactly the same sensors as iPhone 8 Plus, but with slightly better glass, so a slightly wider aperture to let in more light, and now both lenses are optically stabilized instead of just one. So you can expect slightly occasionally better performance with things like zoomed-in video and zoomed-in photos, and low-light performance for portrait mode shots. It's not a huge difference maker so far from my experience. I mean, all these phones have great cameras, but where you'll find the bigger difference is around the front with the selfie cameras. The iPhone 10 has all these extra sensors and tech on the front of the phone for Face ID, and that also comes with a better front-facing camera experience. The selfie on the iPhone 8 is probably very familiar to you, same as iPhone 7 and 6S and 6. The classic warm colors, decent sharpness, not the widest angle in the world, but, you know, it's a pretty standard-looking selfie. The iPhone 10's front-facing camera adds this portrait selfie mode thanks to the depth sensing capabilities. It's not very good. There tends to be some sharpness and halos around the edges, and a lot of times in bright light it just refuses to blur that background at all, but this is something that can continue to get better with software updates. And I can't say I get this phone just for that, but it is an advantage. A big hardware difference that's going to matter between the iPhone 8 and iPhone 10 is the lack of a fingerprint reader on the 10, which means you're unlocking the phone with Face ID instead of Touch ID. Now, Face ID is cool, don't get me wrong. For me, it's worked in a huge percentage of the time in various conditions. It's been pretty quick, unlocking basically as soon as I look at the phone. But the thing is, Touch ID is still a bit better. I know they say Face ID can randomly be tricked 1 in a million times versus 1 in 50,000 for Touch ID, but we had years of Touch ID getting better and better, and I never had anyone spoof my Touch ID. And what really matters is Touch ID is lightning fast and almost never fails. I think with all the talk about Face ID, since it's new, and everyone trying to spoof it all kinds of different ways, we kind of forgot about how good Touch ID was. It's been the gold standard in fingerprint readers for so long that we kind of took it for granted, and even if Face ID does get way better with software updates like I expected it to, will it ever get quite as fast as the fingerprint reader? Not really sure about that. It might be a couple of years. So look, what it's really going to come down to is the displays. That choice of putting a display in between two huge bezels and a home button and a fingerprint reader versus stretching the screen all the way across the entire front of the device That choice makes all the difference in the world. There are a bunch of gestures to learn when using the iPhone 10. Some of them easy to remember, some of them a little bit more interesting. But at the end of the day, I found that you get used to them pretty quick. Like a day or two in, I was fully used to it, and by that time it does feel more modern and clean just swiping around this pane of glass instead of using an actual button. So is iPhone 10 worth it over iPhone 8? Well, obviously the full review is still coming soon, so that'll be the full wrap-up of everything, but I think the question, is it worth it, comes down to the difference in price. The iPhone 10 starts at $1,000, the iPhone 8 starts at $150 less, and you kind of pay that off over time if you go on the monthly plan. I think there's no question iPhone 10 is a better design than the iPhone 8. The real question is it a better phone? And that'll be decided pretty quickly by you from using it. So either way, thanks for watching. Hopefully you stay tuned for the full review and all the videos upcoming. But that's been it. Talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.